Hello and happy Friday, and thanks for tuning into radiofreerhinecliff.org. And this show in particular, correct me if I'm Norm, I'm your host Norm. I'm thrilled to be here tonight with DJ Ciaobella, a.k.a.
Forever.
Nina Isabel.
In the house.
So I went to your website. You're an interior designer, and gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. But also, there's one section on the website, which is a surprise, and it says music. Mm-hmm. And when you click on that, you get this whole history of DJ Ciaobella. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait.
You're just scratching the surface, Norm. Like that.
Great.
And even that is overloading people, but I do love music, so.
Yeah. Well, but also, I mean, you worked as a DJ for a number of years.
Yeah, I did music marketing for bands and at record labels and marketing companies. And yeah, went out 5-6 nights a week and then DJ'd on the side and had fun. And yeah, it was part of the whole 2000, indie music scene in the city, and the dance scene especially. It was fun.
In Brooklyn?
This was like before Brooklyn, like in the 50s,
Brooklyn?
Like the Tunnel and Limelight, like when DJs were getting big,
just pandering
in the 90s.
To the old man sitting opposite you.
You know what I'm talking about? Come on, the Limelight.
Do. Yeah, sure, that's my era.
Yeah, it was fun.
But you weren't even alive.
Well, it was the tail
then.
end of that. So it was like I was in college in the 90s, the late 90s.
Right.
And so Napster started happening, but I got a job at a record label because my friend was walking around with all these records and swag. And I was like, where do you work? He's like, oh, I work at this record label. And so I started working there, and it was Astorworks. They had Chemical Brothers, Fatboy Slim, like all these old school.
Pretty good names.
Yeah, amazing. It was so much fun.
And what was the label called?
Astorworks.
Astral Work?
Yeah.
Huh. And so how long did you hang out with the Astral Work label?
I was there for many years. I still have a lot of friends there.
Uh-huh.
And then I moved around to different marketing companies. I had my own stint for a while called First Kiss. And eventually I was like, the music industry in general was really trying to figure itself out and falling apart. And I had hit this glass ceiling. And then all of a sudden you're in your late 20s and you're like, I don't want to live on drink tickets and like absolutely no money. So.
And a comp +1. Yeah. And so you were living in the city. You went to Fordham?
Yep.
Is that correct? Where you studied communications and media?
Yeah.
So it was kind of good to do marketing. Did you study marketing stuff at Fordham as well?
Yeah. Yeah, I did a lot of, everything from how media influences you and the way that you think, which was amazing. And then I got to be part of it on the other side. So when I was done with music, I got a job at Condé Nast working at Details Magazine on the marketing side for advertisers.
Cool.
So it was cool, kind of.
Details was a pretty cool place to be.
It was hip for sure.
Yeah.
And I got to do marketing on a bigger level.
You're still getting
fun,
invited to the
right?
parties.
Because now it's like, I have an actual budget to work with. So that was great. But it was worse than high school in terms of the politics. And
oh, no.
So I looked at my boss and I was like, okay, so let me get this straight. Like, I work 60 hours a week and my goal is to have her job. And I just looked at her and I was like, no. So I started going to class at night while I was at Details and put myself back in school and went for interior design. And then I just left full time, went and got an internship at Tom Felicia, who's one of the Queer Eye guys.
Right.
And that was fun.
Wow.
Yeah, and now I love what I do.
And so where you mentioned high school, where was that?
Cleveland, Ohio. Magnificat. All girls. Catholic. Lots of Catholic school.
What was it called again?
But it was great. Magnificat.
Huh.
Yeah.
Cleveland. So you're
born
and raised in Cleveland?
Born and raised in Cleveland. Big Italian family.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm the oldest of 5.
And are the folks and the siblings still around Cleveland?
My parents are, and I have a brother there and 2 sisters that are there. So they're still there. Lots of aunts and uncles, but yeah, I have a sister in Charlotte. I'm here because Sean and I love New York, and so we're in upstate instead of the city, but still very connected and closer to his family. This is where we're raising ours.
Fabulous.
Happy to be here.
And so happy you're here doing this wonderful stuff. So let me ask you, you were doing the marketing for labels and stuff. Then you started going to night school to study interior design. How did you first become interested in interior design?
It's a good question. It wasn't anything very obvious or like a big lightning bolt moment. I think it was really just a long, slow burn of learning how to live on your own. Like I had gone to Fordham and that was amazing, right? But it's kind of in between like that period of adulthood where you're like free, but not, you're still under the wings of your parents, the school, the community, and then you're out on your own. For me, I was out on my own in 2001. And so right after I graduated, I was in the city 9/11 happened. That was huge. I didn't like where I was living. And so I started having like panic attacks and ended up moving in with one of my best friends, which was a blessing.
Where were you at the time that you didn't like?
I was living it was like a family in Astoria on Ditmas Park, like Ditmas up there. And then it was like their family house, but they kind of renovated. It wasn't an attic, but it didn't feel like it had full ceilings. So I was living like post-college. All my best friends moved away. I didn't have a lot of options. I moved in with this guy who I didn't really like. I didn't feel safe around. I didn't feel safe where I was. And
egads.
Yeah. So it's just, I guess, being sensitive to your environment and how that affects you. And when you're in an environment that is toxic or doesn't work and how you feel. And so then I moved in with one of my friends, and I mean, it was me and two guys, me and the two Jims. We lived together for like almost 10 years until Sean and I got engaged. And I always had the smallest room. I always had the least amount of money because I was the one, doing what I loved. But I was happy and just learning how to like make your space, no matter how much you have, like feel good and comfortable. And half of that is the people you surround yourself with, whether they live there or not. But
yeah. And what were the two Jims doing at the time?
One was in finance, so he always had the biggest room and would buy dinners. And yeah,
that's nice.
They were both very sweet. And the other Jim worked at ABC in video editing. So yeah, we had fun.
Nice. Are you still in touch with the two Jims?
Yes.
That's fabulous. So I'm guessing that your room, the smallest, was the best decorated.
It was, I mean, I don't know, best. I think at the time it was like tapestries on the window and, I could barely fit a dresser in there. It was just like a bed, a dresser. But it felt like I'd put like Christmas lights around the windows,
right.
Like that doesn't cost a lot, but
right.
It makes
it's
you feel
cheerful.
Good. Yeah.
You got Christmas lights all over my house.
Feels good, right?
It makes me happy.
Yeah, exactly.
So when did you first move into a space of your own where you're like, oh, I know how I want to decorate this, sort of from the bare walls up?
Yeah, I would say when Sean and I moved in together, that was like a natural. Sean and I, my then boyfriend, now husband, we had dated for 9 years before we moved in together, and we're getting married. And that space, it felt like we had the money. We were creating a life together. We painted every room in that apartment. We got like none of our security deposit back because everything was like dark, moody, and like, we got to be playful, but it was ours.
Right.
And
you weren't getting the deposit back anyway.
We didn't care.
And where was that place?
Good. In Astoria.
Okay.
Yeah. So I always lived in Astoria, which I liked. It was like you go above ground, you get out of the city at the end of the day. I loved our neighborhood, the Greeks, the Albanians, the Serbians, the Italians.
Good Indian food.
Great. Just really nice community. I still love going back there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny. Do the Jims still live there?
One lives in Brooklyn and one lives in Asheville.
Oh.
Yeah. No more.
So when you moved into that apartment, had you finished the interior design program at Parsons by then?
I believe I had. Yeah, I did. And I was working for an architect in the city, a couple of architects at the time.
So you finished the program. It looks like it says here 2007 to 2010. Mm-hmm. Was that at night school? Or that's a 3-year program.
Well, I made it take 3 years, basically working during the day, taking classes at night.
Right.
And then the market crashed, so I started taking a lot more classes.
Right.
Because I lost my job, and so did everybody else. So
right.
Yeah, it took about 3 years.
And so when you think back on those classes, what are the things as you do your daily practice in interior design that you think of most What are the things that are most enduring in terms of your aesthetic?
Function.
How you work, yeah.
Function. Like for me, I can make any space beautiful. And I think if you look at my portfolio, like I want to design for my clients. So I want them to be happy. I don't have just one style. But for me, the number one thing is that it always comes back to function. How are you using the space? How do you want it to feel? That's really where you start. Like you can look at pretty pictures all day, but that's not your house. That's not maybe the way you live or that I live, but that it comes back to that form and function first, and then taking it into the more, tactile, like what is the material? How is it applied? What's the scale? But yeah, I want it to work. That's really important to me.
Right. So when you walk into people's houses, 'cause now I'm imagining you walking into my house and not just turning around and running. But when you go into people's houses in general, do you see things that could be done differently? Do you think, oh, you know what, this would work for you, or that doesn't work for you?
I mean, I think it's hard to turn off, but generally if somebody welcomes me into their home, I'm going in with an attitude of like graciousness. I'm happy to be there. And I'm not saying sharing that stuff with your host. It's always running in the background.
Yeah, it's always running.
No, I'm just kidding.
But one of the things you do, one of the services you offer is like just a sort of an hour-long consultation or something, right? Mm-hmm. Where you'll go to people's houses and sort of give them your ideas right away.
Yeah. So the idea is like for people who actually, this is a good softball toss.
Oh, good.
Because it actually started because of this beautiful lady right here. Jen Shear. I don't know. I mean, I think we were just talking and I think I invited myself over, or you said, I had some stuff I'm thinking of doing differently. And I was like, well, just get a coffee. I'll bring coffee.
It was for the Rhinebeck Science Foundation. It was going to be
a raffle.
Auction, auction. And you're like, let me show you what I mean.
So I came over with coffee and we talked through like some different things that she was just ready to, address or update. And we had so much fun. And she was literally so nice about it. Like I thought it was just nice to hang out and like connect. And afterwards, she was just so complimentary that I called it the coffee date originally because it was like feeling like talking to a friend and just being like, hey, you could tweak A, B, and C, and wouldn't that serve you so much more and where you're at right now versus what it used to be, right? Because, I mean, we're always changing.
Right.
So that's a fun way to do it. It's good for self-starters. It's good for people who can, like, run with direction versus somebody, if you're not good at making decisions, that's not going to be enough for you. But it's an option. It's available.
And so do you get a lot of people calling for that? Because I kind of love the sound of that.
People love the sound of it, so...
Right.
A lot of people call and I'm happy to help.
And what percentage of those 1 hour quick design consultations turns into a bigger job?
Not many.
Not many?
No, it's just a different.
Because people sort of think, oh, I'll get this consultant in, this expert in design. I'll pick their brain for an hour, and then we'll execute it ourselves.
There's times we're there and we're hanging up Christmas lights, and that's all you can afford, and that's fine, right?
Right.
And then there's people who have a little money that they want to invest, whether it's a different, chapter in their life or a space that's not working, and they're like, oh my God, I can't walk past this space any longer. I just need to do something with it. Like, it's great for stuff like that. But if you came to me and you were like, oh my God, I just bought this new house. It's 5,000 square foot. I'd be like, dude, the 1 hour is not going to cut it.
Yeah. Well, what's the typical budget that you work with for residential projects?
Well, it depends.
I assume this is a question you ask when you get there, like, well, what's your budget for this job?
I don't like to say what's your budget. I like to think of myself as like part partner and educator and project manager. And so with clients, like, it's really hard. Like, I don't know what certain things cost in another area, just this way I wouldn't expect you to know what it costs to do a living room. So I kind of talk about, okay, well, what are your wants? What are your needs? Do you have an idea of how much you'd like to spend? And then I come back to them with a written proposal and I say, I think it's going to be between this and this for furnishings, and this for design fee. Are you good moving forward? And I try to be transparent and honest, like, this is what it's going to cost, and this is a long process that if we're in together, we should all be on the same page. And if that
Right.
sounds good, we move forward. And if not, we can help in other ways, or they can choose to work with whoever.
I love that. That's a good way to do it. And do people generally get a couple of bids? Do they talk to a couple of different interior designers who are like,
Sure, I'm
pick up
sure
the
it's
aesthetic,
easy.
the cost,
Yeah,
whatever?
I mean, if you're looking, maybe you're just looking around and contacting a few people, but nothing's better than a referral. Like, there's nothing that goes further than a friend saying like, oh my God, I have this person. She's amazing. She'd be great for this. So,
Right.
yeah.
And I'm going to guess that's how you get most of your business is through referrals.
Yeah, like the project next door, that was a repeat client. So I'm happy to be working with them again.
The project next door being your office,
Yeah.
your atelier,
Yes. My boutique.
your boutique, where I happened to stop just before you came over here.
Yeah.
It's so cool
You like it?
because you're working. Can you talk about the project that you're working on?
Yeah, sure. It's a client. The clients have a family. They have 2 kids. They live in Glenford. They bought this house maybe 4 or 5 years ago,
Right.
and I worked with them on just interior decorating it. And now they're working with Crisp Architects, and they've put together this beautiful addition and total renovation of the inside. So it's like 15 spaces, and we're doing everything.
15 spaces.
Yeah, like the whole house. So like
Wow.
the entry, the library, we're doing custom built-ins and cushions and pillows and drapery and all the furniture, the tiles, selections, the plumbing fixtures. So it's amazing. Like that's
Sounds like
the
an
good stuff.
enormous job.
It is.
And do they have a reservoir view over there? Some of those
They have mountain view.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah. I like that area.
Yeah,
Glenford.
it's beautiful.
So you worked with them before. Now they're adding on, and they said, "Hey, we want to redo everything."
Yeah. And they're like, and we're really busy, and we like what you did, and just handle it. And I was like, awesome.
Nice. So you went to them. You said, "All right, here's some initial ideas. Here's what the estimate's going to be."
Yep.
And they're like, "Great, go
Yep.
do it."
Yep.
And so, how long will a job like that take from start to finish?
So
Is the new building done yet?
they have all the permits.
Okay.
They have so we're going to submit the interior drawings to be part of the bid set. But they have a contractor, and yeah, the client is getting ready to move out. It probably takes me 6 to 8 months, depending on the size of the project, maybe less.
Right.
4 to 8 months, depending on the size of the project, to go from concept and inspiration boards through to purchasing all the materials.
And so the concept and inspiration board, you start with some sort of a rough concept and you sketch it out?
Yeah, so, you could say, I love modern. And I'm like, I love modern. But we could be thinking, right, like totally different things. So we really,
Right.
through speaking with the client, and we have a questionnaire that we have them filled out that goes into more detail. Like, do you have a preference on finishes? Like, you might not even know, but you hate brass and you love polished chrome or, polished nickel.
Yeah.
So we kind of dive into that. We see where each person is, because sometimes if you're in a partnership and you're doing it together, it's interesting to see what comes up that like similarities or differences. And then we go into the ideas and like the visuals. So are we conceptually or visually on the same page with what the theme is? Because when I deliver a design, I give them one look. I don't give you 3. Like, it's too confusing. So we do all the research up front, and then I deliver it to you, because if I give you one sofa, I've probably looked at 30 before I got to the one that was the right size, the right color, the right dimension, all the things. So it's really, there has to be that trust there. But we do revisions too. So clients can say, I love this, I hate that. It's like, no problem. We probably...
Right.
come somewhere in the middle.
Huh. And so will you do sort of like watercolors, or you work with swatches or something when you're thinking about how the colors are all going to work together?
Yeah, I love actual like tactile samples. So for me, that's when I realize something's working, or what works best, the contrast between this fabric and this material. And, to me, when I see it and I can touch it, it all comes together.
Right. And you say contrast. I got to ask, do you have a favorite contrast right now?
Limestone, and like velvet or mohair.
Limestone and velvet.
Ooh.
That sounds good. And I'm guessing that your favorite contrast sort of
Are you surprised that I answered so quickly? Jen's not.
I'm not. I was delighted. Also, you looked so happy.
I know.
The listeners couldn't see the look on your face.
I know.
Limestone and velvet.
I know.
She panted.
So good.
And has it been that way for a while? Have you had? Do you recollect other favorite contrasts?
Oh, just like, a sheepskin rug, next to some beautiful wood or marble or,
Right.
just wanting to the bar at Le Petit Bistro,
Right.
that marble countertop. Like I go there and I just want to touch it. I'm like, oh my God.
It's gorgeous marble.
So beautiful.
I love that. And so I'm guessing you think about that a lot when you're doing the planning for places, is how the elements are going to, complement or contrast with each other.
Yeah.
And so in this new house that you're doing, the addition and stuff, will you recommend the floor materials?
Yeah.
Like everything.
Everything.
Like here's what kind of electrical outlets you're going to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're going to be spaced, this many inches off the door frame, and this is the door frame, and then yeah, we're doing.
So you must work closely with the architect as well.
Yeah. Yep, they've been great.
Nice.
Yeah.
What a blast. So how long have you been doing this job?
Since 2007.
Uh-huh.
Or you mean my company? I guess since 2011. I've had my own company.
And in between 7 and 11, you worked for other companies.
Yeah. Yeah, I worked for a lot of other designers and architects in the city.
And was it their policy also to just show one design? Not like, here's 3 to choose from?
That's a good question. Every designer does it differently. The way they set up their business to the way they present designs. And so I guess a big lesson I learned early on at Tom Felicia, right after the market had crashed, we had a client presentation, and the client beforehand had given him a binder because they were clippings. They were magazines. There wasn't Pinterest or anything,
Right.
And he didn't even look at it. And so the market crashed. We had this ginormous presentation, and she fired him the next day. And we all knew, we were hanging on by a thread anyway. And then we were like, oh my God. So we all got let go. And it was just a big lesson in that you can be schooled, educated, all of the things, but at the end of the day, you are designing for somebody else. You know what I mean? So even if they have ideas that don't work for some reason, I'd rather, again, come from a place of education of this is why I don't think it works because A, B, and C. But at the end of the day, if they're that is something that has to be there, or that was my grandmother's, then we find a way to make it work, not
Right.
this is only my style. But I don't like to give too many options to clients because I think it confuses them. It's already overwhelming. So
Right.
if you can get them to focus, then generally I think it helps move the process along more efficiently than, everybody's already got a lot that they're trying to sort out. So I try to make it simple.
Right. And do you ever try to talk clients out of the givens? Oh, that's my grandmother's carpet. We need to have that.
If it doesn't work, I will explain why I do not think it works.
What's
in
your
the
success rate
nicest
at that?
way possible. Honestly, I'd say my average is pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Right, because it's got to be really kind of horrible for you to bring it up if they're
Correct.
that has to stay.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to look at things with fresh eyes when you've been in a place for so long. You
Oh,
know?
God,
so
yeah.
it is fun to kind of go into a place and be like, why is this like this? Why do you need it like this? Can
Right.
we do something about that? And,
Is these all the things that people
I
say
mean,
when
while
they
you're
come
in
into
there
my
and
house?
while all the guys are coming in and tearing it up anyway, you might as well
Right.
get it done right, take care of some stuff.
So this sounds like sort of the dream job that you're doing over in Glenford for a designer.
Yes, it is. It really is. Great people, great project, great team. Really, really happy.
And you said 6 to 8 months of your work.
Yeah.
Are you working on other jobs concurrent with that?
Yeah, I am. I have a team, and so yeah, we're doing a few other things.
Yeah, you keep saying we. How many we's are there in your practice?
I have a COO, Amy, who is wonderful at the business side because it kind of gives me a little bit more space to do what I love and to let her take care of a lot of the business stuff that I don't really like or is very time consuming. And then I have 2 to 3, everywhere from senior to assistant designers that work with me, like as contractors, to help assist on projects. So I'm always the principal designer. I have the overall vision, but sometimes I'll have people like, okay, I want it to be this, this, and this, but now I need samples and I need pricing and I need this to be plugged into the floor plan and updated and put in this. And so like, they kind of help run so that we can run multiple projects at a time.
Right. So they're shop around and see what's out there for various materials and furniture and whatever. Mm-hmm. And do they generate creative ideas for the projects as well?
Sometimes. I take more of the lead on the actual selection of furnishings.
Right.
And they assist more with like pricing and samples and drawings and even 3D renderings. Those are something that we're doing a little bit more of these days. So I kind of have them run with those things while I can kind of keep my head around the overall vision of a project. And
right. What a treat.
Yeah, it's great.
Sounds like a fabulous business.
Yeah.
And so you said they're contractors, mm-hmm. and I was just in your atelier. I'm guessing they work remotely.
They do, but they come in every so often. So
right.
We have a marketing meeting once a month, and my senior designer will come in every few weeks. And yeah, we have I try to create an office culture. That's important to me. I mean, it's hard to work on your own, but also I value other people's input. So it's nice when it's kind of bustling and things happening, and it's not just me in there like spinning wheels.
Right. So you have like off-site meetings and like, holiday parties and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I said we need to do a spa marketing retreat. Like I think I have to go to Maribor for like an entire day in order to really generate some good marketing ideas.
You go there often to Maribor?
It's a treat. Once in a while, like if I hit a good milestone or just finish something really hard, I'll be like, I'm going there for the day.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you like their interior design?
Oh, it's awful.
How do you like their exterior design?
It's awful.
Yeah. Yeah. We went up one of my.
So tacky, like Westchester.
It's pretending to be something it's clearly not.
So confused. It's like a cold French chateau on the outside, and then inside is like Westchester met like what? I don't even
Disney idea of a French chateau.
I know.
Yeah. So do you ever go in places like that? And not them. I mean, I think they're sort of they've got a bunch of different outlets, probably a big corporate entity. But do you ever go in places like that and then say write to the corporate entity or talk to the person in charge, say, hey, I'm an interior designer. And I got a bunch of ideas. If you're ever thinking
speaking of Norm, if anyone's listening, I don't know if the new Soho House officially nixed up here. No one knows.
No one knows.
But I was, Soho House would just hire me to be like the on-site, I could just run over there and like take care of a few things instead of them always coming up from the city. I mean, I have hospitality, experience.
Soho House, if it happens.
That would be amazing. I mean, I'm not going to work for Maribor. But a boutique hotel, like I did go to this hotel in Portland, Maine recently called the Longfellow. And it was like the experience from like the moment you pulled up, like through and through, the thread of everything there was such a lovely, beautifully designed experience that was, if it was something boutique-y, like that would be fun. Right.
It seems there's always a new boutique, motel opening around here these days.
Yeah.
It was just a one over in Phoenicia. Graham, I think it's called Graham and Co. or something. It was just gorgeous. It's a Catskills motel.
This is such a treat.
Rustic.
To go to a hotel. It's the best.
Yeah, it was
a good hotel.
Yeah. It was the whole aesthetic was just perfect.
Yes.
Catskills experience.
I love a good hotel.
Huh. So have you done many hotels?
I have. I did a W in Atlanta. W Buckhead back with Tom Felicia, and W San Diego, and then we were working on a W in New York, and then the market crashed and that project went away. But yeah, 2 hotels.
Huh. And so you've got a relationship. Is this Tom Felicia guy still around?
Yeah, I think. Okay. Yeah. So that was a great place to learn because he was doing like a fabric line and the hotels, and he was on TV and
right. So, but you wouldn't now go to the W and say, hey, I had this experience. I'd love to talk with you if you ever need anything, because that's sort of off limits. That's Tom's thing.
I think that, I don't know. I never really thought about it.
Right. And what was the job you were doing in Portland, or was it a job?
No, that was pleasure.
Uh-huh.
I was there with the boys. We were having a little me and the boys time, and we usually stay at my in-laws' place. But
boys? Who were the boys?
My boys. Avery is 10. Adrian is 7. They're delicious and mischievous and all the things.
Perfect. I love that. Well, hey, as is the usual here on Friday's edition of Correct Me If I'm Norm, the guest brought a cocktail of some sort for us to enjoy. I'm dying to find out what it is.
Okay, my friend. Well, I said, how about Manhattans?
Manhattan.
And then Jen's like, Norm loves Manhattans. And I was like,
thanks, Jen. Here, I'll open this if you want to do other things.
All right, so these are amazing compostable cups, so you can feel super good about yourself.
Are they?
For your Friday cocktail.
They look like plastic, but they're
They
compostable.
Do. Yeah.
Huh.
Pretty cool.
And they hold up to alcohol.
Yes, they do.
We'll find out.
Cherries and a little measurer, but I don't know if we actually use the measurer. Got all the things.
Wow. And ice. I love that.
I got you.
You're the bestest. Looks like it's just the two of us.
Oh, yeah, those glasses disappeared.
What's that? Yeah.
Do you like a lot of ice?
However you make it.
All right.
Putting the ice in the cups. There's the bourbon. You've got some sweet vermouth and some bitters. Oh, and a nice little shot glass.
I don't know.
So you work all over the country or all over the world?
I work all over the country for now, but wow, that would be amazing. Like, can I get a project in Paris?
Yeah.
Away.
And so do you do any advertising? Do you, beyond just sort of word of mouth?
I'm pretty bad. I just hired a cute social media gal from NYU, so she's gonna help me be consistent. If it were up to me, I just hope people like think of me when they need somebody,
right?
And are like, oh, I have the perfect person, but I know I should be better. But that cute little sign out front, literally, so many people around town are like, oh, you're Nina, and I did that sign like 7 years ago, and it's still, people just see it from the train or they see it around town, and so it is nice, to have that.
And your URLs on the sign, do people track you down via a website, or do they knock on the door?
Some people stop in if they're like, in the hood. Some people go through my website. I like when they go through my website because there's like a little form you can fill out. So if you wanted to talk further or give me some info on what you're thinking, like that's always good. But
right. I'm rapt watching you make this Manhattan. It looks so good. And happy Friday.
Sorry, my fingers are in your...
Oh, I'm so not fussy. And, and you're probably not fussy either. My feeling is after 3 kids, if you're still squeamish about anything, you really weren't doing your part.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. Last night, my youngest is 7. And he still wants me to wipe his butt.
Oh, no.
I'm like, yeah, no problem.
Well, I don't think we should drink to that, but we would drink to the
Mom, what? My butt.
Yeah, to the end of that in the not too distant future. And what do you say to him?
He actually tried, but
cheers.
I guess it was
delicious.
Cheers.
He tries, but he's not very good at it.
Well, I guess it was a messy one, so we had to get a wipe in there just to make sure it was all gone.
And what about Dad? Does he step up?
Oh, yeah. He's great.
Clean up
he's
as well?
He's awesome. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, great hands-on.
Yep.
I guess in that case.
I think he was tied up with the puppy. I went out for a leash back in March for the older dog.
Oh.
And we turned a corner, and my son was like, that one, and pointed to this puppy. And so now we have a puppy and another dog and 2 kids. So now all of a sudden it feels like we have a large family.
4 puppies.
Well, poor me, because there's 5 boys now and just
you need to get some farm animals.
Well, thankfully we had a ladies' night out the other night. That was nice. I got my estrogen on. I was like, Mom's out to a ladies' dinner. Leave me alone.
It's nice to get out like that.
I know.
Do you get out very often?
I try. I love my friends, and I like to go out, and I like to have fun, and I like to laugh, and I like to see live music.
Yeah.
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 I like good people. You know, if you're good and you can hang.
Yeah.
No drama. Just have fun.
Oh, rats. Well, that leaves me out.
Sorry, Norm.
Well, so what's the last concert you've seen?
I think it was The Kills. Maybe The Kills.
Uh-huh. And where?
It was in Brooklyn, I think. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They're hot.
The Kills?
Yeah.
And how would you describe their music?
Like raunchous rock and roll, very sexy Detroit rock.
Uh-huh.
Like bluesy.
Huh.
Alison Krauss, right?
Oh.
And Jamie.
I was thinking more Alice in Chains, the way you described it.
No, she's hot, he's hot. They must do it. I mean, there's no way.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find some speculation about that online.
I never thought so, but then, and they've been around forever. But at this last show, I was like, there's no way. There's no way they haven't slept together. There's no way.
That. Well, like Jack and Meg White. I mean, everybody speculated about that for the longest
time. Well, they were
time.
married, but she was more like a sister. And now he's like cult-like, so hopefully she's okay.
Now it's what?
He's so like culty.
Oh, he is?
He's all like frat rock down in Nashville. Like
frat rock in Nashville? I don't even know what that means. It doesn't sound good.
I love Jack White. He's awesome. But like,
right.
Yeah, he's like a no right now.
Yeah. And so are you still making mixes for people to listen to?
I am. I do make mixes.
It seems the last one on your website was winter 2024.
Yeah, I have a summer one that my new social media person is putting out this week that I never shared, but it was a really good one.
The summer 2024
I'm working on a fall.
mix?
Maybe I'll get it out before Thanksgiving. But
I
still like
that.
making mixes. And I just, it's like I share it with my friends. But if other people get enjoyment or are looking for something to listen to, then, enjoy.
But anybody, I mean, it's open to the public, right? Anybody can go on Spotify and track you down.
Yeah.
And are the mixes under DJ Ciaobella?
I think you can just find me on Spotify under my name.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
But I am thinking about doing something at the shelter one night. Maybe like a early cocktails and then ladies dance party. Men
luck.
If you can hang.
Where would you find the shelter?
No, isn't that the name of the place? What's the name of that place?
Rhinecellar now, I think.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Did it used to be called the shelter?
It was.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
I'm so old school.
Yeah, that's what everybody says. Oh, she's so old school. But I'm thinking of the designs I saw on your website. First, everybody should go there. What's your URL?
NinaIsabella.co.
.co. NinaIsabella.co.
My name.
And
.co.
the designs there are so beautiful, and they go from old school to like really very contemporary and modern stuff. And you say you design for the client, so maybe this question doesn't make any sense. But do you have a favorite genre of design that you work in? Actually, don't answer that. You don't want to get pigeonholed by anybody.
I love clean lines, modern, but with a warmth, classic, and a mix of materials. Those are the things that I tend to gravitate towards.
Right.
And more of a neutral base and then pops of color, more sporadically.
Right. But also one of the things on your website, it says Rhinebeck. It looks like a mansion. And there's not a clean line in the place.
Oh,
it is
that, and that was one of the most fun projects.
So gorgeous.
I know, it was Robert Duffy's house, and he's an artist, and it's truly one of the most rewarding, fun projects I've worked on. I mean,
and is that because it was sort of out of your comfort zone or out of where you normally find yourself?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yes, I mean, he appreciates so much art and design and was so eclectic and a collector of just books and
so he probably had a whole bunch of
furniture.
Stuff.
Oh my
God. He
God.
said, this stays, all this stays. And
so he started calling and texting me, and I didn't know who it was. And I was like, who's this person bombarding me on a Sunday? And then Rachel's like, I referred somebody, you should pick up. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I figured out who it was. So I met him at the tea house. He was selling the tea house at the time. And he was literally like, I'm taking everything. And then we had to repurpose it in the new house. So I ran around with him for like 3 days and we decided, okay, this rug's going to go here and this rug's going to go here. And then after that, he left for winter vacation and I stayed and worked for like 3 weeks while he was in Anguilla. And I was literally like, I want to paint the dining room this, navy blue with burgundy trim. And he's like, do it. And then I'm like, I want to paint the library this color. And he's like, do it. And then he's like, all the art has to be hung. I mean, I was paying contractors like crazy. It was a crazy job, but we turned it around and it was very playful and he trusted me and I was so happy with the way that it turned out. We turned around some miracles.
And in 3 weeks?
Yeah. Over Christmas break.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But he was like, it all has to be done. I'm coming back. He lost the box spring to the custom bed for his daughter, Victoria. Somehow got lost in transit in the move. I had to have a custom box spring made like immediately. And I tell everybody, I'm like, listen, here's the job. Like, it needs to be done. I don't care what you charge me. It just has to be done.
Why custom? A particular size?
He had like a gorgeous vintage,
I gotcha.
Poster bed with, the Victorian like wood trim heading. So it was just like, there was no other option. You're not going to go to like.
And he just didn't want people traipsing through his house while he was there? Is that why it had to be done while he's away?
He just wanted it to be done. He wanted to live in a house that he loved. Done. And that was my job. So.
And so he comes back from Anguilla. You've been sprinting like mad for 3 weeks. Yeah. And everybody sprinting.
Yeah.
And you got it done on time.
Yeah.
And were you there when he stepped into the place?
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I mean,
did you invite yourself? Did you say, listen, I want to be here to look at your eyes when you're beholding this for the first time?
I mean, you got... I'm there to make sure everything goes smoothly and, but also I'm there with a notepad because I'm taking notes because, it's like I'm looking to get I'm always looking to get 75% of the way there because I know there's going to be notes, but if I can get it 75%, then I'm feeling good about myself.
Right.
So, yeah, he loved it. And there was also a very long list of things that had to be done still. So,
right. So he's like, I fucking love it, the Gestalt, but then I'm not sure about this piece. And could that be a lighter blue?
Mm-hmm.
Artist? Is he a painter? What kind of artist is this person?
He is the co-founder of Marc Jacobs.
Oh.
Robert Duffy.
Right.
So he lived in the Village for a while, and I did that house, which, funny enough, I was obsessed with that house. Before he bought it, remember? It was renovated. I remember going with Avery when he was in a stroller.
Where was it?
It's on Chestnut Street.
Oh. And
they had recently redone it, and it was just such a beautiful home. I could redo that home 100 times. Just.
Is it the one with the huge garage in the back, and they put up a fence around it?
Yeah, and the trellis.
Yeah, it is a gorgeous house.
The house is gorgeous. So you could do it, so many different ways, and it would still be beautiful. That home is just beautiful.
Right.
So. Yeah.
And it's what style is that house? The architecture of the outside. How would you describe the arch?
Well, it's got the columns, so maybe
some columns. It's got a big porch.
Georgian-ish.
Okay, let's say Georgian-ish. Have you ever been called to take a house like that, which seems traditional, Georgian-ish, and do an ultra modern interior that doesn't match the exterior at all?
Yes, I was working on an awesome project in Katona, Victorian outside, total renovation, gut renovation on the inside. And we were going to they were both British, and we were going to do a fun, there was going to be a snug, right? Don't they have, what do they call it? Snugs?
Snugs?
Snug or snug?
I don't know.
In the UK, it's a cozy, kind of womb-like, cozy, TV watching room or something.
Oh, okay.
So, but the insides, we were going to, keep some of the classical moldings around the door and the trim and the, all that. And then make it really modern. And that's been fun to play with. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like that would be fun.
Yeah.
Now, you said you like somewhere in your site, I think it was Chicago, there's a Mies van der Rohe apartment that you did. Mm-hmm. That must have been a blast for you.
That was a highlight of my career, my personal career, because Mies is such a influence on, like, when you talk about what influences you, what do you think back from Parsons? It's the mid-century modernist, just their whole approach to thinking still. I mean, you might not like mid-century furniture. This goes for anybody, but the principles that they came out of that with in terms of like form, function, practicality, open spaces, all of that still applies so heavily today. And so it was a friend of ours, long story short, a friend of ours bought a place in a Mies van der Rohe condo that he had designed the outside and the interiors for back in the day in Chicago on the waterfront. And I got to do the interiors. So his parents passed away. He inherited all their original Paul McCobb furniture, which is a classic mid-century modern furniture designer.
Okay.
And then we had everything stripped, sanded, restained, so that it was all like looked sparkling new, reupholstered everything and fabrics. And again, this is like blending the old, respecting that these pieces are still in beautiful shape. Like the crap they sell today, it kills me.
The crap like reproductions of mid-century
either reproductions or just people go on Wayfair or, Target or Amazon and are buying just crappy things that they don't love, that they don't, have any connection to, that are so disposable, that are bad for the environment, that are whatever. And that these pieces were purchased in the 60s and look glorious,
Right.
and are just, they still hold up. So we did it in new fabrics and new stains, and we did the whole apartment, and it was beautiful.
And so when you get a job like that, where it's sort of historical, do you do much research? I mean, I assume
so much research. Yeah. Like I love coffee table books, magazines, and as much as I think I know, I'm always learning.
Right.
Yeah.
And how many magazines do you subscribe to?
Oh God.
Yeah.
Not that many, but still the piles, they pile up. They've always been all over. Like, so they're in my office, they're in my house, they're in my car. They're like, whether it's a chronogram and I'm just picking one up to see what's going on locally, or I subscribe to Architectural Digest. I love a magazine out of the Hamptons called The Purist, which is kind of like a wellness magazine.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, anything pretty.
Right.
And inspiring.
All right. You brought up wellness, so I can ask. One of the things you offer on your website is a crystals add-on, which sounds pretty interesting. It says, enhance the energy of your space with our optional add-on of uniquely selected crystals. How does that work?
My mom's like, is this a mistake? And I'm like, no, it's real. It's for, I guess if you are into crystals or you want to elevate the energy in your space, or to just even be more conscious, or that you have an intention. It could even be an intention. I'm calling in more calm in this space. I'm calling in more grounding in this space. I want this space to be a space that I feel creative in, whatever it is.
Right.
And then I go shopping and I pick out a bunch of crystals that are aligned with your intention, and we do like a little ritual. So we'll like clear your space with some.
And where do you go shopping for crystals?
There's a place in Tivoli that has a nice selection. I like to see them, and especially if I'm getting bigger pieces, then
Right.
I like to see them and touch them, feel them. There's a place in Woodstock, and there's tons of places on Etsy that you can find and then specify, like to do, that they're ethically sourced is nice. But
what are the ethical issues in crystal sourcing? I was not aware there were any.
Yeah.
Just they're mined somewhere, and so there's probably terrible labor situation.
Anytime I couldn't speak specifically on it. I just know
Right.
if there's a choice to have them be
Sure.
ethically sourced, that I'll do it that way. Or find like shops that specify in that. Like Spirit Daughter is an astrologer that I follow, and so like she has really special pieces that's curated. So like I'd probably go look there.
And do many people avail themselves of this service of yours?
I think that if you're interested in something like that, that you would be interested in that service. And if you're not, like, it's a take it or leave it.
And you personally have crystals around your office in your home?
Everywhere.
And you're looking around you right now.
I did.
In your pocket, in your bag.
So nervous about coming to talk to you. I'm like, I hope I show up, open-hearted, authentically, and also don't overshare.
Oh, well, now that the bourbon's kicking in, we're getting the oversharing portion of the show.
So this is what I brought. So this is like a cleansing crystal.
May I touch it?
Oh, yeah, of course. And this is like a creative crystal. This is like a protection crystal. And this is a calming crystal. So that's my selection for the day.
So
coming on to see you, Norm.
Did you select these in particular for this day?
Yeah.
And do you select groups of crystals almost every day?
No, but it's kind of whatever I'm feeling, or I'll put them out in the full moon and cleanse them. And the boys know. I'm like, it's a full moon. Does anybody have any crystals? Like, we're going to put them outside and clean them.
And where do you put them? They get a moon bath.
Yes, they get a moon bath.
And what are they cleaned of? Like, that I touched them?
Just energy.
Right.
So it's just, if you think of it like going back to the intention, right? If your intention is peace, then there are certain crystals that vibrate that energy. And so even if you don't feel the energy per se, it could still be a reminder to you to cultivate that peace. So,
right.
Yeah, they're just like good little reminders to check in, tune in.
So these are in a nice little pouch.
Yeah, so you can find these literally like
inside.
all over my office, all over my house, in my car.
That's funny.
I packed some for the boys when they went away to stay with my parents. They got their own little love notes and crystal potions and angel mist. And
crystal potions, these are like incantations or something that the boys are supposed to do?
Well, one of them, at night with both of them, if they have trouble sleeping.
Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the crystal.
Yeah, dear angels, please protect me, keep me safe.
So sweet.
Yeah, they have their own angel sprays.
Their own angels what?
Angel sprays.
Angel sprays?
Yes, so they get that at night if they want it, if they ask for it.
What is an angel spray?
So it's like crystal infused, or, like it's essentially water that's been infused with energy or intention.
Particular kind of crystal.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And if the boys want that at bedtime, you'll spritz them and.
Yeah. My younger one's been like afraid, talking about dying a lot.
Oh.
And so one way that we talk about it at night is just like, you have angels. Like, everybody has angels all around them, whether you acknowledge them or you do not, or you whatever.
Doesn't matter.
To each his own, right? But I believe that you have angels and that they're there to protect you. And so you can talk to them and say, thank you. I had a beautiful day. Thanks for being with me. Like, I'm feeling a little scared. Can you stay close? And
I love that so
then
much.
we spray and we're like, dear angels.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just trying to give them a.
And I'm not an angels person, but I love what you just said. There's the gratitude, and the idea of being the care of the universe or of the household, and the safety that could come out of that.
Yeah,
I love that for your kids.
Yeah.
So sweet. Now, I didn't notice crystals in your office, but I did notice for the job you're working on in Glenford, a bunch of like box tops and trays and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing there was one for each room in the house that you're doing. Yeah. So what was in those box tops? Because it was so cool to walk in and see all these things like tiles and fabric swatches. And,
yeah. You should have come in last week. There was like stuff like everywhere. It looked like a bomb went off. So now it's very narrowed down and focused, but each tray has the materials for that space. So, for example, the kitchen has the backsplash tile and the hardware and the flooring and the cabinets and the island color. And so it's like everything is contained. So when we go through the presentation tomorrow, there'll be drawings, there'll be furniture selections, and then every space will have material samples. And so that they can see and touch. And in some cases, I'll say, here's 3 different ideas I had for a pillow. What do you think? Or here's a couple different wallpapers. They were both lovely. Like, what do you think? Because again, it's for them. So it's kind of.
So you'll do this out at their space.
Yeah. So usually I like clients to come to me, but they've got 2 small kids, so they're better entertained at home. So that's why I'm taking it on the road. Will you bring an assistant or 2 with
you for that?
Yeah. So my senior project manager is going to meet me there.
Right.
Yeah.
So cool. I'd love to see that. Do you ever take pictures of that kind of a thing or video of that?
No, I'm usually too in it. I'm usually just so hyper focused. I feel like I have a million things to share. I want to stay on point, stay organized, stay in the headspace.
And so you're going in and you expect that they're going to buy everything.
75%.
So I was going to say.
That's my goal.
That's your goal. But sometimes people buy everything. Sometimes you go in with recommendations.
Yeah,
and
sometimes people are just like, I want everything from that to the pillows to everything done. And sometimes you get fired afterwards. Like, honestly, I mean, I feel like my job, I never know how far it's going to go. Are people going to freak out over, the cost of something, even though they were cool with it a few months ago? Maybe it was great in theory, and then it comes to actually spending and they, get cold feet. It happens all the time. I mean,
right.
It's a very personal business.
Sure. But sometimes they fire you just based on your aesthetic recommendations.
Yes.
That sucks.
Listen, if that's the case, then okay, that's fine. Let's move on.
Right. I mean,
or a mature adult person would say, hey, there's some things I'm really not responding to. And then I say, hey, no problem. Like, I told you at the beginning, like, that this is an ongoing process and that I want you to be happy with the end results. So those are the options. Right.
So I'm guessing most people you'll deal with are kind of mature-ish adults. And it's not like you're fired. It's like, could we take another swing at this?
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah, it's a process.
Huh. One of the things that I thought when I walked into your atelier here, right next to the Epicurean here in beautiful downtown Rhinecliff, it seemed like your happy space with all that stuff out there. I'm like, this is Nina's happy space.
Oh my God, I know.
And then when you described, you should have seen it last week with more stuff everywhere. I thought, was that her happier space?
Yeah. I'm happy now that it's organized. I'm excited to present to these clients. Like, I'm excited to share what we put together. I think it's really special. So, yeah, we'll see. Wish me luck.
And so in the course of a year, how many projects do you usually have?
Usually like 3 to 4 bigger projects, and then, 2 to 5, depending on the size and scale and where and all of that, smaller projects, I'd say. But my goal is to work with mostly bigger scale renovations and projects. Like if you're moving up here from the city, you have absolutely nothing, you're starting from scratch. Those are the juicy ones, right? Because if I can envision every space and how they tie together and how you experience the space from the minute you walk into, like, that's the dream. I love that. It's just more fulfilling. But yeah, I mean, every project is a challenge. So
right. And what's the smallest project you've done lately? Since, the past, whatever 13 years that you've had your own place.
Just like a consultation is, a smaller project. You go to meet with somebody, but I stopped doing those in person for a while. I got scared at one. I called Sean from the driveway and was like, if I don't call you back in an hour.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was so freaked out. So it's like I kind of do it more on like if I know you or if you're really close. Otherwise, I'm trying to do more virtual because it's so much more accepted these days, and I can do my job
so
I don't need to be there, but
FaceTime or Zoom.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So I came up. Yeah.
Well, when you have like the $20 consultation, let me know because that's my price point.
You'll get a friends and family special.
Oh, good. Thank you. Well, guess what? Our time's up.
All right,
DJ Ciao Bella, a.k.a. Nina Isabella. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Have a great Friday and a fabulous weekend.
For having me.
Thanks for coming and bringing this yummy drink. Cheers.